I, 48 male, inherited a beach house from my grandfather. The house has been in my family for generations, and it has a lot of sentimental value to me. I'm now with my long-term girlfriend for 7 years after divorcing my first wife, which ended on good terms. Girlfriend's ex-husband had a gambling problem. Any money they had was lost long ago. She has a daughter from a previous marriage, Kara, and I have a daughter, Emmy, from my marriage as well. Our daughters are each nearly adult, with mine being basically 3 months younger. Kara's been in my life for 7 years, and we have a good relationship. However, she has an active father, so I did not fill that role. I was in her life 50% of the time, so I have no doubt that I played a large role in her life, but I wouldn't say father. But others do say a non-legal stepfather. I have my daughter Emmy half-time, aside from summers when I had her more due to my and my ex's lifestyle. With all that said, my ex and I have a good relationship, as does our daughter with all of us. Kara and Emily have gotten along, and they're friendly. They've made plans independent of myself and my girlfriend, but they don't consider themselves sisters or best friends. Now to the issue. Kara will be going to school near the beach house and has asked if she can live in it to save money, which would be significant. Emmy approached me and said she wanted to live there after the summer, but wanted to live alone while also in school. The home is more than big enough for two, but she pointed out they have very different lifestyles, and it would be far more comfortable alone or with a friend if I insisted she lives with someone. It was a frank conversation, and she brought up the fact that the home would be hers one day, so it made sense. And she was right. The home will be hers by law in a few years, as I'll pass it to her. My girlfriend and Kara were very upset, calling it favoritism and pointing out that she'll already be set for life between having a free ride to school via scholarships and housing, while Kara will be using loans and may have to take a gap year or attend another school altogether. So they're asking me to reconsider, and I think I've damaged my relationship. Am I the idiot for this decision? I agree that it is favoritism, but Emmy's my daughter. Of course I'm going to favor her, right? Edit. It's not an easy solution. My daughter wants to keep the space private. Kara is far more social and enjoys a party lifestyle. I don't think she has any problems, but yeah, people are usually around. Emmy prefers to be low-key and keep her home quiet and organized. Girlfriend has not contributed to the beach house. Not the idiot, and here's why. Your daughter's a non-party kid. Your stepdaughter's a party kid. You own the property, and who in their right mind lets a party kid live in a home far away who won't be monitored? Drinking brats destroy property all the time, and it's you who will have to fix it. Also, having a party kid with a non-party kid focused on school means the one with the scholarship has to try and deal with keeping her grades up and all the extra commotion in the house. To me, it's not about your kid versus stepdaughter. It's about keeping the property as is and not having the issues of destruction or another child losing scholarships. Also, since when is getting scholarships a free ride? As someone who went to grad school on scholarship, they don't just hand those things out to anyone. Your daughter probably worked hard to get herself into a better position than your girlfriend's daughter. That shouldn't be used against her. Kara shouldn't have thought of the beach house as hers. Heck, it's not even necessarily about the partying. It boils down to it's his daughter's inheritance. Therefore, it's her decision. Additionally, OP isn't a parent to Kara. He and her mother are not married. She has an involved father. Free housing is a huge ask. Frankly, it's concerning that OP's girlfriend and her daughter have jumped to labeling this as favoritism when OP doesn't have any responsibility for Kara. They seem entitled. For 7 years, your daughter's been pleasant and friendly toward two people you brought into her life. Now she's moving on into the next phase of her life, and she'd like less contact with them. That seems entirely reasonable. To force her into living with your girlfriend's daughter, especially when there's a lifestyle incompatibility, seems unfair and graceless. It's absolutely not favoritism, which is a wild thing to say when Kara also has a living, breathing father with 50% custody. I'm male 32, don't have kids of my own, but I'm dating my girlfriend, 35, that has 2 kids, Anna, teen, and Nick, 18. My girlfriend Amy and I have been together for 12 years. We've been living together for nearly 9. The kids' father is not in the picture. I've been present in the kids' lives for nearly all of their life, but still, they think of me like a stepdad or even mom's boyfriend. I don't like kids that much either, so I don't mind it, and I don't want to be their father. We're comfortable with the way things are. Anna does ice skating, and she had practice for an event that will be held soon. Amy and I went to support her. Some other parents were there too. So we were sitting and watching the girls skate. Anna came out and started doing her routine. We both cheered for her. So another woman asked if she was our kid. I told her that she was not mine, she was actually my girlfriend's kid. The woman said, "Oh," and nothing else happened. When we got home, Anna asked to go upstairs to talk. She then told me it was kind of crappy what I did, and I could have just said yes. I told her that Anna's not really mine, so I don't think I did anything bad. She's upset with me now. Was I wrong here? I don't hate the kids. I don't even hate kids in general. I just don't like the idea of having kids of my own. I do care and love Nick and Anna. When I started dating Amy, she introduced me as Tyler, and they just stuck with it. They call me by my name, and that's fine. When either of them introduces me to their friends, they say my mom's boyfriend, not dad. They don't want me to be a dad, and I don't want to either. We're good. I do, however, take care of them because they're kids, and they need to be taken care of. I did, since I know them, but that doesn't mean we have to pretend that I'm their dad if neither of us wants to. You are the idiot. I think it's unbelievably cruel for you to be with Amy for as long as you have been and make no effort to act like a father to those kids. If you've been dating for 12 years, that means the kids were very young when you first got together, and yet you, quote, don't like them much and don't see them as your own? Those poor kids had to grow up without a dad because you never acted like one. No wonder they don't see you that way. You're the prime example of a crappy stepdad. Disagree. OP's not the idiot. LMAO. If this dude were forcing a relationship that his stepchildren don't seem to want all that much, everybody would be like, you can't make them see you as their dad. He said that the kids aren't looking for a father, and he's not looking for kids. That's allowed. Sorry. Also, the lady wasn't asking if she was the biological daughter when she said, is she yours? OP took that so literally. From what he's written, she is his in many ways, even if they don't put the father-daughter label on it. Starting out by saying, no, not mine, took the focus away from the kid's performance and brought many unnecessary, gossipy questions to the forefront of that stranger's mind. You could do so much better, OP. His girlfriend could also do so much better. I wonder why OP is even with this woman, since he sees her as his girlfriend. 12 years together is called common law marriage. Just say she's your partner, and they are stepkids. Wow. Just girlfriends' kids kind of downplays how long you've been in their lives and makes it seem like they don't matter much to you. It is obvious that the children sensed your lack of interest and have reciprocated. I, 35 female, have 3 kids, female tween, male younger tween, male pre-tween, with my dear husband, 31. We both try our hardest to provide for our kids the best way we possibly can, but still, there are quite a few limitations to the amount of luxury we can afford. For example, my sister 24 married her wife 29 around a year ago. Every time she came to visit us, she would bring extremely expensive gifts that I could only dream of affording. Her wife works a high-end job, and she's a huge spender. She would bring expensive clothing items like purses, dresses, or makeup products for my daughter, games for my son, and sometimes electronic devices. It is confusing for my kids, and they've been acting differently since she started this. They push for items and ask for things way out of our budget. My husband and I must explain how we can't afford things like their aunt. I asked my sister before to cut back, but she has not listened. This time she brought my daughter a coat worth double my rent. I asked her to come into the kitchen and told her she should cut back on these gifts. I explained to her how this affected my kids, how it made them feel inferior and expect too much. I also told her it was harmful and asked for her to please stop getting them gifts that were this expensive, and that otherwise I wouldn't want her to spend a lot of time with them. She told me she just wanted to make them happy and apologized. I thought that was the end of it. At night, I got a phone call from my sister-in-law, my sister's wife, saying that I had hurt my sister emotionally with how I put things, and she cried when she got home. She said she was disappointed in me and asked me not to disturb my sister unless it was to apologize. My sister is very sensitive and an emotional person, but I don't see what I did wrong here. I asked her to stop getting my kids expensive stuff because it makes them expect a certain luxury we surely can't afford. Should I apologize? Am I the idiot? My sister is a very sensitive person, only about her own emotions. Where your emotions are concerned, she's as sensitive as a brick. You are not the idiot. Great catch. OP, you made a reasonable request, and your sister's response is to cry to her wife, and her wife's response is to cut you out until you apologize for making a reasonable request. Neither of them has given a single thought about you. I disagree. OP says, I explained to her exactly how this affected my kids, how it made them feel inferior. No, it doesn't make your kids feel inferior. It makes you feel inferior. There's nothing wrong with having a rich relative who's generous. It's better than one who doesn't do anything for their nibblings. You would also complain my sister's loaded and gives my kids cheap crap. Your kids are old enough to understand that aunties don't have kids and love spoiling them now and again, but they should realize that you don't have that kind of budget for luxury items, so they need to keep this in perspective and not demand things, even from aunties. How is this harmful exactly? Using your kids as leverage and threatening to cut her off in that slick way you did is harmful. Sorry, but you are the idiot. My brother Nate and his wife Jen invited me and my daughter Maddie, tween, to go on vacation with them and their kids, Laura, tween, and Danny, younger tween. Nate and Jen are extremely well off. They both have high-paying jobs and earn around $350K between them. Maddie and I are middle class. I own a small house, and Maddie goes to a private school. Maddie has a good life, but it doesn't compare to her cousins. My brother and Jen rented a house for us and paid for the rental, all the food, and all of the activities. I only paid for gas when driving myself and Maddie to the house. I also have to say, Nate and I don't get along very well, but I have a great relationship with Jen, mostly because of how they are with the kids. Nate tells the kids they don't have to be nice to anyone, never encourages them to share their toys, and doesn't discipline their kids. Jen is the opposite. She constantly tells the kids to share with their cousins and will punish them if they're rude to the other kids or adults. Now to the vacation. They rented a 3-bedroom house. Nate and Jen had the master bedroom. I had the second bedroom with a double bed, and all the kids would share a room with 2 bunk beds, 4 beds. The first night was pretty rough. The kids brought many toys but refused to let Maddie play with them. Finally, Jen came in and told them that before they left, she told them that they'd have to share their toys, so share, or she would take them away. They were a little rude, but mostly fine the rest of the night. The second night, Jen went out to dinner with an old friend, and Nate and I were home with the kids. We were getting the kids ready for bed, and an argument broke out between them because Laura and Danny decided they didn't want to share with Maddie and told her to sleep on the couch. I expected Nate to tell them that the bedroom was for all the kids, but he told Maddie that she had to sleep with me or on the couch. I asked if he was serious, and he said yes, and that his kids weren't comfortable sharing with Maddie, and since he had paid for the house, he had a right to kick Maddie out of the room. I told Maddie to get her bag, and that if she didn't have a bed, we were going home. Maybe an hour after we left, Jen came back and asked why Maddie and I had left. I told her what happened, and she asked me to return and promised that she'd take care of her husband and the kids because she wanted them to have a good relationship with their cousins. I said no, And shortly after we got home, I got a call from my brother yelling at me for causing a scene, creating problems between him and his wife, and being ungrateful for a free vacation. He got our parents involved, and they're agreeing that it's a free vacation, and I can't be picky. Am I the idiot for leaving with Maddie? I paid for your vacation, so you should be grateful for whatever crumbs I throw your way. Not the idiot. This isn't a vacation. They, Dad and kids, but Dad is more responsible, are so awful that they have to pay people to go on vacation with them. And then they're so rotten that the people leave in disgust. Nate is one of those parents who wants his kids to win at all cost. He never figured out that the most important thing for a parent to remember is to raise decent human beings. Unfortunately, that's what his wife is trying to do. He's determined to raise a couple of idiots. I feel sorry for Jen. Your parents are dead wrong. You did the right thing. Sounds like a miserable free vacation. Be grateful? Ha! That's a power trip for Nate to hold over OP, and he's teaching his kids the same, and that they're better than anyone just because they have money. Also, good for you not to let your daughter be bullied. She'll remember the bullying of being kicked out of her room and forced to sleep on a couch, much more than any memories of a good free vacation. The vacation is not free if she's the punching bag. It has a huge psychological toll. The other day, I, 38 female, went out on a date for dinner with my wife, 35. I had reserved our usual table at a rather sophisticated restaurant. We've been going there for a long time, ever since we started dating 15 years ago, and I've never seen anyone bring young kids there. Anyway, the couple at the table beside ours had brought their infant child. The child would not stop crying. They would try to comfort her, but it lasted just a few minutes, and the kid went off on another crying fit. Once our food arrived, it only got worse. I was there to have a relaxing one-on-one conversation with my wife, and it was impossible under those circumstances. I thought we could sit at another table, so I asked our waiter if we could move to a different table. We've been going to this restaurant for years and always sat at this table when we could, so he asked me why we wanted to move. It was more of a joke, and I said we wanted some space to converse, and it was too loud here. The couple heard my answer, and the husband said I was rude and insensitive. Now, I have 2 kids, young male and female, grammar school age. I know the stress of being parents, but we never brought kids that young there. We went out much less, and when we did, we got babysitters then, just as we do now. I just said I preferred to sit elsewhere and didn't understand their comments. Was it an idiot move? Mainly because they heard. Not the idiot. They were being rude and insensitive to everybody else in the restaurant. I get that kids will cry, but you can't expect strangers to put up with a screaming child through their entire meal. They should have gotten a babysitter or something. Dear God, I find myself saying they should have gotten a babysitter far too often. Someone brought a screaming toddler to a 4-hour Wagner opera I attended. What is wrong with people? OP, you didn't complain to them or ask them to move. You just asked to remove yourself from it. The fact that the father wasn't apologetic says a lot. Give it a few years, and that kid will be the one running through the aisles and tripping waiters or watching videos at deafening levels on an iPad. It's crazy that other parents expect folks to put up with their kids' nonsense.